welcome into another week of Palmetto Sports Daily. We've got a lot to get to, and we'll have to start off with some unfortunate news out of Columbia here, and that's Chloe Kitts, the starting forward for the Carolina women's basketball team. She is out for the season with a torn ACL in her right knee. We found that out this morning very early, around 7:30, and it's something that's been, in question over the last week or so. Kitts was spotted with a brace on her leg within the last week, so things were kind of trending in that direction, but got that confirmation this morning that she will be out for the 2025-26 season. And the big thing here is that leaves 10 healthy players on the roster for the Gamecocks. So I just want to get this out to you guys really quick here. Just what are your immediate reactions? Summer, I'll start with you.
Yeah, no, obviously not anything folks wanted to hear. I mean, a tough blow to hear before the season, and I'm sure she's taking it as hard as anyone. I know Chloe posted on social media, just thanking the fans for the support, and the Gamecock women's basketball was like, we're going to be playing for you, we got you. But yeah, just heartbreaking. It sucks to see. Now, the one maybe positive is, I guess, technically she could redshirt this season and come back. I don't know that she would do that since she was already expected to be a first-round draft pick in the WNBA draft, and I'm sure she's going to want to get her career going. But at this point, just, praying for her recovery there. I know she's expected to have surgery this week. And then I believe SEC Media Days are tomorrow, right, Julia? So they're heading right into that.
Yes.
I think I saw Tessa Johnson will be replacing her. So it'll be interesting to see just kind of how the team is responding to this, how they're going to rally and kind of, try to move forward. I think it leaves the Gamecocks with only 10 players on the roster now. So I don't know what Dawn Staley's going to do. I mean, being basically at the start of the season, that's a struggle. Trying to decide what they're going to do. I mean, a massive loss and some big shoes to fill, obviously big in size, too, to replace the forward and Chloe Kitts. So I just hate to hear it all around. Y'all, what are you thinking, Tegan?
Yeah, definitely a really tough situation for her as an athlete. But looking at South Carolina, we do, obviously have to realize that this is still a very good team, even without Chloe Kitts there. Dawn Staley's a fantastic recruiter. The gals that they have on this team this year are still extremely talented players. So, I mean, for us, it just leaves the question of, who's going to step up and step into those shoes and just give this team a spark to hopefully make another championship run like they did last year, but get over that mountain.
Yeah, so moving ahead here, obviously not the best news that you want to hear if you're a Gamecock fan, but some good news from Friday night last week. Of course, the former Gamecock, Asia Wilson, bringing the Aces to another WNBA championship title. That's the third in the last 4 seasons for the Aces. And big note here, Asia is now the first player in WNBA or NBA history to win the MVP, Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the scoring title all in the same season. So absolute dominant performance by the Aces. They swept the Mercury in 4 games in the first best-of-7 series that the WNBA Finals has ever had. And, you just gotta wonder where Asia can go from here. She is, cementing her legacy as one of the best players in this sport, if not the best player. So excited to see where she can go from here, guys.
Yeah, pure dominance out there. Like you said, I think we've got to really have the conversation now. She's one of the best to do it, right? I mean, I don't know how you do much better than this. But, yeah, super proud to see her being from our home state here in South Carolina. And, seeing that dominance out there on Friday night. I know we had a lot of football going on, so kind of following that. But, yeah, super excited for Asia Wilson doing that and, handling it all with poise, too. I think it's really special to see. Caroline, I don't know if you got to see much of that. I know you were running around in Boston College and all of that. But how special do you think Asia Wilson's just been to the WNBA?
Oh, just so special. I mean, you just said it just now, all you guys, with all the stats you're listing off and all the accomplishments she has. I mean, it's unheard of. Like, I was thinking, a little bit earlier when we were talking about her success and the win on Friday and everything like that. I saw a photo floating around on social media of her jumping up and hitting that game-winning shot, like, side by side with a photo of Michael Jordan. It's just crazy, like you're putting somebody like Asia Wilson in that conversation. It's just like, wow, like, look at this, like two people who are some of the best in their craft as well. And I was reading an article about their head coach saying that she's run out of things to compare Asia to, like she's like, I've started referring to her as a big and a strong elk this season. Like, she's like, I'm running out of things to compare her to, so I'm comparing her to strong animals, and I'm comparing her to the mountaintops, and I'm comparing her to all these things because she truly is one of one. And Asia, kind of clapped back and said, I think I've been compared to just about everything. If you put all those together, it equals Asia Wilson. So just pretty cool to see that for her, and awesome, of course, just for those of us in the upstate who kind of follow along and get to watch her do that. But stick around, we'll circle back to some football here in just a few minutes after we take a quick break. All right, welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. We're on the football track now. Another big win for Clemson. Second straight road victory as the Tigers take down Boston College 41-10. And something that we've heard head coach Dabo Swinney talk a lot about this season is being able to play complementary football, and Clemson's inability to do that up until really the last couple weeks. So he was complimentary of the complementary football after that win on Saturday. And I just want to rattle off a couple stats here because it really was well-rounded. I mean, not only did the offense go for over 30 points in a first half for the second straight week, but that Clemson defense, only gave up 221 yards to Boston College, held them to 3 of 12 on third down, held them to 1 of 4 on fourth down. So really feels like things are just kind of coming together a little bit. No, those are some rocky ACC opponents in North Carolina and Boston College. But, when you're in college football, a win is a win. So I'm just curious what you guys thought about seeing that well-rounded performance from Clemson on Saturday. Julia, I'll go ahead and start with you.
Again, this is the performance you really want to see from this team as you're hitting this point in the season. And like you said, we talked about it with North Carolina and then here with Boston College as well. Tough opponent or not a tough opponent, whatever you want to say about these teams that they've beat, a win is a win. So it's good to see them play this well against any team. And then now the real challenge will be seeing if they can play this well against, a greater opponent like a Duke or something like that in the future. So just got to see that consistency and see that complementary football keep going, Tegan.
Yeah, I am going to be the pessimist here again when talking about Clemson. But for me, looking at these last two matchups, UNC, looking at Boston College, these are teams that are pretty much sitting at the bottom of the ACC right now. So while Clemson was able to dominate in both of those games and, do what we kind of expected them to do earlier in the season, can they do it from here? Can they do it with these better teams in the ACC? And I'm going to pull up their schedule here because I know they've got SMU next, and SMU, I can't find their record at the top of this lovely Google search, but then they've got Duke, a tough team, and then they've got Florida State as well. So, I still don't think they're quite battle-tested yet. I think that this, boat of confidence is definitely helpful for them, but I don't know if necessarily I can judge this Clemson team off of these last two matchups, Summer.
Honest, at this point, especially looking at what's happened to Florida State the last few weeks, if Clemson wins out their ACC schedule, they could seriously be contending at the top of the ACC again. It helps them out that Miami's not on their regular season schedule, right? But it kind of seems like if you keep winning, things are going to fall into place for you. So just win the games in front of you. Yes, they've taken down two of the bottom feeders of the ACC right now, but they went out. You got to think if crazier things have happened, and I think what they're doing now, it's coach speak, but they're controlling what they can control, right? They're doing it. They looked great on all sides of the ball. We said it on Saturday. It was cool to see Peter Woods have a rushing touchdown. It seemed like they were kind of back to some Clemson ways. They were having fun out there, trying fun stuff, and these guys always rally around each other, right? And like you said, the defense had a great performance too, but just to see some different guys in there. I know Cade Klubnik went down with an ankle injury in the third quarter, but it sounds like he's going to be just fine. They just kind of held him out since they had a big lead in the game, so why risk it there? So that was a little scary for a little bit, but yeah, I think if everyone stays healthy, Clemson's going to be battling with anyone in this conference, and that's why coaches always say it, right? It's like why you play the games here. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I do think they're picking up a lot of momentum. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, obviously, how they finish. They get SMU next. I think they can easily win that game if they play how we know they can play. So it's going to be interesting to see what Clemson does. Caroline?
Yeah, Summer, well, you mentioned it. It kind of starts with that motivation, right? You got to win the ones you're supposed to win so you can go out and maybe win some ones that are a little bit of a toss-up. But also worth noting, Boston College is where Coach Dabo Swinney got his first win as a head coach, and now win number 83 coming after Saturday. So he had some thoughts kind of about the sentimental piece of getting a win there after the game on Saturday.
Back-to-back games on the road, 2 big wins, and man, this is a special place to me. You know, forever grateful for that team that came up here 17 years ago, 3-4 with a fired staff, and because honestly, none of us are probably here right now in that locker room, outside of maybe a couple guys would have still come to Clemson. But so you know, just that team, you know, made a decision to try to finish and had the will to fight. You know, even though there wasn't a lot to play for. And, you know, so it was great to see these guys come up here tonight and, to me, honor that.
All right, well, you heard Coach there. Exciting win for the Tigers, but I just really quickly want to circle back to what Summer mentioned about Cade Klubnik's ankle injury. Coach Swinney called it an ankle injury, and here's what Cade was saying after the game, just so we can get to it quickly, about what he was feeling after going out there in the third quarter and not returning.
I don't really know. I mean, just a couple of things banged up and just kind of, you know, just a little banged up, just took a hit, and but I mean, I feel pretty good. So I'm excited to go attack this week, and I'm excited to go learn from this game. And but yeah, I mean, I don't really have a comment for it, I guess.
Now, Coach Swinney also said he does expect Cade to be fully ready to go on Saturday by the time they're back in the Death Valley hosting SMU. But before we get to next week, I know we got to circle back and still talk about some more games this week. So, Julia, would you kind of ease us into what went on to the Gamecocks down in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I think we got to probably hit on this pretty quickly, but, you know, South Carolina falls to LSU 20-10 on the road in Baton Rouge, and it's one of those games where, you know, they were never really fully out of it, and you kind of scratch your head a little bit at some of these statistics. I mean, they outrushed LSU. They won the turnover battle. They had 2 big goal line stops. They did commit a lot of penalties, though, and those kind of added up. And, you know, a bunch of those were on the offensive line. Obviously, Shane Beamer making the big move to let go of offensive line coach Lonnie Teasley over the weekend. That was only his 2nd assistant coaching change in his tenure. So, obviously, somewhere that he wants to see a big change. And it's tough to look at a game like this because, I mean, you got the first play of the game where, you know, they turn the ball over immediately and that sets the tone for the rest of the way. But LSU was making a lot of mistakes too, and it was hard to see this team not be able to capitalize on those mistakes because those are the things that you want to see from South Carolina. You know, when it's swinging in your favor, you got to take a hold of it. And it felt like they just couldn't really grasp those things throughout this game. So I'll ask you guys, just what more do you want to see from South Carolina, especially as we're hitting this back half of the season, which, important to note, this is where they turned it around last year. They won all of their games once they met Oklahoma last year. So I guess the question is, do you guys think they could do that again this time around?
Yeah, Julia, I can go ahead and go. I think Shane Beamer said it after the game on Saturday. He said, we fully expected to win this game at LSU. And I think, obviously, every team's going to go in with that mindset. But like you said, when you win the turnover battle, usually you end up winning the game. So it's kind of rare in, you know, Power 4 football to see that happen. So I think with the Gamecocks, yeah, it's just not capitalizing on the other team's mistakes. I mean, they were in this game, like you said, they could have won. And I know the Gamecocks parting ways with Lonnie Teasley. South Carolina's offense ranks last in the SEC right now. So, yes, maybe you're saying changes should have been made there. I know the offensive line has dealt with some injuries. I saw a lot of outpouring on social media of different varying opinions on that decision, but obviously it shows that the Gamecocks aren't satisfied and they're trying to make changes. I know Lenora Sellers acknowledged it after the game too, that, you know, they got to convert when you're in the red zone, when you're, you know, in plus territory, and they just didn't get it done. So yeah, it leaves you, you know, kind of scratching your head, you know, wondering what's going on here, especially because expectations were so much higher for this South Carolina team, right? But like you said, I mean, I think they can turn it around against Oklahoma, finish the season as best as they can. But yeah, I know Matt Fuller had the longest run in this past game. I think it was like a 72-yard touchdown run. That was actually the Gamecocks' only touchdown in the game against LSU. So that was definitely surprising. I'm going to want to see way more aggression in the run game, which I expected more from for the Gamecocks all season, from Sellers and from the running backs. So, yeah, I think that's where it's going to have to start for them as they welcome Oklahoma, a game that, very sentimental for head coach Shane Beamer. He used to work there. So I know he's going to have him fired up in this game. But, yeah, eager to see what turns it around there. I am excited to see Sean Elliott take over this offensive line. I mean, let's be honest, run game coordinator should probably be running the offensive line anyways, so it kind of makes sense. And I know that guy is going to have them fired up come Saturday, no doubt about that. We have more to come, though, here on Palmetto Sports Daily. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more college football. Welcome back here to Palmetto Sports Daily. It's a Monday, so we're talking all things college football that happened across the weekend and jumping down to some FCS for us here in the Low Country. The Citadel Bulldogs moved to 3-3 on the season. They took down Valdosta State, typically a powerhouse D2 program that came into Charleston. This past weekend, the Citadel won 38-14. That was actually their first home win of the season, but honestly the most complimentary football we've seen from the Citadel this year, kind of on all three sides of the ball. They had some fancy blue camo jerseys you see there too. It was their Military Appreciation Day, so whatever they were, they worked for them this past weekend. They do return to SoCon play this weekend. They welcome Western Carolina, who's in second place in the SoCon right now, a team that's won their last 4 games, so they're on a hot streak right now as they got their quarterback back. And then for Charleston Southern, they dropped a tight one, or tight, considering they were playing the number 7 team in FCS football, but they welcomed Tennessee Tech. They fell 27-13. Charleston Southern did. They had some plus in that game, looking to still get something going there. So that was a tough one for them. They did, though, retire Colin Draft's jersey at halftime there. The 2005 quarterback for the Bucks. He was actually there all 4 years, but in 2005 he led the Bucks to their first Big South championship. So the Bucks retired his number 7 jersey this past weekend. Cool moment for him there, raining out there and all down here in the Low Country for these games, but the teams powered through, made the best of it. That's our kind of Low Country wrap. Tegan, Coastal Carolina with an exciting weekend and some sparks at quarterback. What you got on them against UL Monroe?
Yeah, Coastal Carolina grabbed a 23-8 win over the weekend at home in some very, very rainy, very windy, very not nice conditions. The fans that came out to the game and that stayed, I give them a huge shout out because I'll be honest, there weren't a lot of them that stuck around. But yeah, Coastal Carolina getting another win in the Sun Belt. They're 2-1 in conference play right now. And then, quarterback situation happened during the game. Tad Hudson took a bad hit. He went into the locker room. I saw him walk right by me. He was walking perfectly fine, but the hit he took, he just kind of did a weird kind of flip. So I'm not sure what happened there. And that's head coach Tim Beck, who did not have an update after the game about Tad Hudson. But Samari Collier, a JUCO guy who came into this game, that's still Tad Hudson right there because he was in there until about the end of the first half. But Coastal being forced to kick 3 field goals in the first half, not super ideal just in terms of, trying to convert in the red zone, something they've been working on a lot this season, just haven't quite gotten there yet. But a nice touchdown in the second half from Samari and also a quarterback that can run. So my question for Coastal, there's the bad fall right there. My question for Coastal, why did we not see Samari before this game? And will we see him again after this if Tad is okay? I think the answer should be yes. I think that he provided a spark that Tad just didn't quite provide for this team. So don't really know what Tim Beck's thinking was there, just holding him out this long. But yeah, definitely a kind of tough decision right there to not make. But Coastal hits the road to take on App State this weekend. Big rivalry game. Coastal stormed the field last year after beating App State. So this is a big one for Coastal. But guys, we're going to take a quick break here on the show. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily. Guys, the Carolina Panthers are 500 for the first time since 2021. They beat the Dallas Cowboys yesterday in an absolute thriller, went down to the wire. These late game thrillers are really becoming a thing for them, as is Rico Dowdle. I mean, my goodness, the former Gamecock rushing for 183 yards on the ground. He had another 56 through the air, plus a touchdown. His second straight week having over 200 yards from scrimmage. He actually broke Christian McCaffrey's Panthers record there. He also set the franchise record for single game yards from scrimmage. And I will say that he did say he told the Cowboys to buckle up before this one. And so here were his comments after this one.
So you buckle up. Did you feel not tight enough today?
Not at all. But yeah, got to give all the credit to those guys up front again. It's a lot that went on in those 5 years while I was there. But yeah, I definitely say it was a little personal. Just wanted to get the win and have a great performance from my end. And like I said, those guys allowed me to do it. And we was able to get the job done.
Film don't lie, man. Everybody in the Bank of America Stadium can see what number 5 is doing out there. And, you know, he's a big part of this reason why this offense is going. You know, so shout out to Rico. You know, just driving us down the field, finishing plays. And, man, he's doing his thing for sure.
I'm super excited. And for him to come out here and do it again, I think he got the all-time record for most yards in a game or something all from scrimmage. So it's just a testament to the player he is, how hard he worked, and yeah, just all the work he put in.
It's a big day for Rico, 30-27 win for the Panthers. They're 3-3, undefeated at home this season. Guys, fire away. Thoughts about the Carolina Panthers so far?
You got to wonder what this run game is going to look like once Chuba Hubbard gets back. I mean, you got to sign these guys, keep these guys, get that 1-2 punch. That's all I got to say, because that's going to be lethal once you get Chuba back in there.
Yeah, you know, it makes you wonder, what do we do now? I mean, Rico Dowdle's playing awesome, you know, you're kind of thinking, keep him RB1, you know? But yeah, no, better to have the battle than to have no one.
Yeah, all I got to say is sorry, Rick, about your team. You know, you were passionate. You showed up for them. You had to watch them lose. Sorry. I'm sure we'll tease you tomorrow for it. But that's going to do it for the show today. Yep. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.